Today, for the very first time ever, I'm going to be taking a look at the canceled show, The Legend of Chamberlain Heights. Now, honestly, this show does look like a walking shitpost. That's judging a book by its cover a little bit, but I mean, can you blame me? It really doesn't look too good, but maybe that means other areas we're focused on, and it's going to be the funniest shit that I've ever seen in my entire life. Alright, animators, we're not going to be giving you a lot of money for all this. You're going to be taking about 20 minutes per episode, so we're going to give it all to the writers. Sorry, Marge, I can't make it home. The boss, he ordered everybody a Moby Huge for a seat. I'm gonna be busy all night. You know, that kind of extra money. That's what I assume is going on there. So either way, today I'm gonna be taking a look at The Legend of Chamberlain Heights and deciding, was it good or bad, and did it deserve to be canceled? If you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload every single day. You don't want to miss it. Let's finally take a look at The Legend of Chamberlain Heights. Taking a look at the highest rated episode of the series to see what the best they have to offer is. Nothing could have prepared me for this. I am not ready for this. I'm not ready to even continue watching the show. Some of it is a little bit funny, I have to lie. It's mainly all jokes. It's not really slapstick humor. There's really nothing physical about the comedy because the animation does look like shit. But I will say, like, it's like a 70-30 split on everything they say. Like, 70% of the time I'm pretty entertained and I'm laughing. The other 30%, I'm like, okay, are you sure you wanted to write that down and pay somebody to sit it? Like, take the beginning of the episode, for example, where Grover and Jamal, two of our main characters, are just sitting down in what looks to be a not-so-good area. They're sitting next to a stinky man covered in flies, and Jamal, he just says something so insightful, so amazing, that honestly, Gandhi himself, Socrates, all of these incredible people who were known for their words and the way where they were able to change people, it honestly hits you just like that, what Jamal says. He says, you know, man, we ain't ever gonna get none of that for JJ if we're sitting down here next to the Fly Man.
Now, we ain't gonna get no for JJ Abrams sitting next to Fly Guy.
And referring to a vag as vajayjay just seems unbelievably wrong in a sense. I don't know, I didn't like that one bit, but either way, it touched my heart, pierced through my thick, cold skin, and let me believe that this character was going to get laid at some point, and it did not go that way. Because all of a sudden, you just hear, out of the corner of your ear, you hear across the lane, oh, what the hell? Don't touch my pussy ever again! I'm like, huh? What is going on over there? That doesn't sound good at all. I'm not a fan of that. And that's when we meet the character Milk, who is just this white dude, and he doesn't seem like a very good person, you know? He's living in the hood, but he's acting like he's all tough and whatnot, but he doesn't seem like he's a very good person. He's complaining a lot, and that's when Queen La Apostrophia walks up and just basically invites Grover and Jamal to a party without Milk, because Milk, he isn't black. So Milk is very upset about this. He doesn't know how to feel about this, so he goes home and he's just hating his life. And that's when we get introduced to one of the most disturbing and weird commercials I've ever heard. It's really funny because of how dumb it is, but at the same time, Jamal's like sitting on his phone like, oh, I just need to look at some hot women. Oh, what is this ad? And then it's like, hello, are you feeling pastry and pale? Like your dick just isn't long enough, perhaps you can't jump? Well, come on down to the tanning salon.
Are you feeling pasty and pale, unathletic and small-meated?
We'll fix it up for you. And yeah, it's a tanning salon where you could darken your skin, to say the least, to a pretty high degree, and basically change your ethnicity. And Milk, he is gonna go do that, so he goes over and he wants to get all the way dark, to say the least, but they decide to just give him a light-skinned tan for now, so he's gonna be light-skinned. At the same time, Jamal and Grover are at the party, and they're just saying more and more insightful things, like genuinely, the conversations in the show can just change you, really. When Jamal, once again, he says, oh man, like, I can't believe they're playing trap music up in here. Nothing makes a giggle wiggle like trap music.
And nothing makes a jiggle wriggle like rosé, trap music in Swahili.
A giggle wiggle, you say? A giggle wiggle? Really, Jamal? Just this fat little kid. Like, well, if I was a woman at this party and I'm dancing and I'm thinking, ooh, gosh, I might get liquored up. Oh, I might get laid tonight. Ooh, maybe I'll take one of these strapping bulls home. Oh, yeah. And then I heard the words, God, I gotta make this giggle wiggle, yeah. God, I would just be soaked. Wouldn't you? Dear Lord, wow, that is just, God, better words have not been said than the giggle wiggle. That's just baffling. So, Milk shows up, he's now light-skinned, and that means everybody loves him, everybody's treating him amazing, and it's like this weird dynamic, because, you know, like, light-skinned is viewed better than dark in these situations, so even though Milk was already white, he's now light-skinned, but he's getting treated better anyway, but he's also getting the benefit. It's very weird, it's very convoluted, but it's kind of funny in a sense, so everyone's getting down with him, they're vibing with him, they like Milk, and Jamal, he's like, well, he actually talks like this, and I'm having fun with his voice, so, he's like, well, now that we got chocolate milk on our side, we can take advantage of that and get a little bit laid. So there's these two girls that want to get with chocolate milk, but Jamal's like, oh nah, if you want to get to the chocolate, you gotta get through me first. I'm friends with him. So they just start going like, I sat in the grenade last time. Like, what does that even mean? Like, have you had to, you know, do the dirty nasty with a lesser human in your eyes to get to the better human? That makes you a little bit of a bad person, to say the least. So Jamal's sitting there like, oh, come on, ladies, let's get with it. And they start making out. And that's when Milk walks over, and Jamal only gets like a 2-second kiss, and Milk is all like, oh, quit hogging all the stink, yo, and just starts making out with both of them. And I don't know, this goes on for a very long time, where it's just Milk walking down the street, and he says something completely and utterly heinous, really racist, but because he's now light-skinned, nobody seems to care, nobody bothers, and it leads to some funny scenes, to say the least. So he's walking with Grover and Jamal just down the street, and Milk is not being very nice to them, and he's just swinging it around saying, I got that Nesquik dick now, yo. You can't do nothing to this. I own these streets, and that's just implied even more when he walks up to Sydney and Queen L'Apostrophia, and he's talking to both of them, and Grover is like with Sydney in some kind of way, or at least that's the inference that I made, and just because Milk is light-skinned, he's able to walk over, be extremely rude to them, literally saying, oh, come on, girls, I'm gonna spread some Nutella on them cheeks, you little crotch goblins.
Sorry, baby, there's enough Nutella to spread on both them cheeks. Hit me later. I got to go put some primping in my pimping. I'll see you two crotch goblins at the Blue Crab.
Like, does nobody have any self-respect going on here? I mean, I can't deny, that is a inherently very funny thing to say, but if I was a woman, and a man walked up to me, asked to spread Nutella between my cheeks and called me a crotch goblin, I don't know if I'd want to give it up. I'm just throwing that out there. But because Milk is just this light-skinned god, he earns it, so they all want to be with him. So, yeah. We then cut to them being at this basketball game. And it's just so stupid. It's so dumb. Where Milk, he gets to go in the game, and Grover and Jamal, they never get to play. It's unfair, man. Why does he get to go in and play? Well, Milk, because he's light-skinned, he gets to go play. He's dribbling the ball. He's about to go for it, throws it up, bounces it back to him. He's going for a dunk, but because he's a faker, he's a fraud, he actually cannot jump high. So he falls. And I was expecting everybody to turn on him and be like, let's eat his flesh, he's a fake, he's a fraud. That's not what happens. Because somebody who is slightly darker than him walks up and gets fouled, even though he didn't touch him, and then he gets arrested for fouling Milk because Milk is light-skinned. And the cops even say some shit like, oh, well, you know, I mean, he's a little bit lighter than you, so you obviously fouled him and you're going to jail.
Now you're back.
What? It was just a foul!
Well, you fouled one of the good ones.
That's what that light privilege do.
What the fuck? God, it's all just so strange. It's all strange. It's so weird. So We then even cut to them being at a cafeteria. There are so many different scenes which highlight the benefits of being light-skinned over darker in this situation. And so Jamal and Grover, they're staring at the last Sloppy Joe, the last one. And Jamal, he's like, "Oh my God, Gladys. Oh, you always hook me up with the last Sloppy Joe, girl. Give that shit over right now." And Gladys decides to give it to good old chocolate milk. And Jamal is betrayed, and his insults are absolutely wild. I couldn't imagine saying this to somebody just because I didn't get a fucking sloppy Joe. Maybe if I was 600 pounds and I hadn't eaten in 3 days and I'm just dragging my lifeless corpse over to the deli and they denied me a sandwich because I'm clearly having a heart attack. But no, Jamal looks at this woman and says, "You know, Gladys, fuck you. You're not gonna give me the food. This is why you had 3 miscarriages, you stupid bitch."
You, Gladys! That's why you had 3 miscarriages, you barren, syphilitic, sour womb. Ooh, fish sticks!
I'm like, whoa! Whoa! That Sloppy Joe could not have been that good to say something so heinous like that. But either way, that was just crazy. That was insane. So there's this other character, I don't really remember his name. He's the small dude with glasses, and he's very offended that Milk is just insulting all of black culture by, you know, doing what he's doing, because what he is doing is absolutely awful. So he decides that when Milk goes back for his other tan, he's gonna turn the dial all the way up and make him as dark as possible. And now that he's as dark as possible, he gets to live a horrible life. God, I don't even know if I'm like allowed to talk about this episode in this way. It just feels so awful talking about this stuff in this way. But either way, he's now living a horrible, atrocious life because he's been turned super dark. It's just so stupid. God, it's so dumb. So he's getting harassed by police. He ends up having Skittles in his pocket. So police are like going up to him, gripping him, touching him, and they notice the Skittles, so he gets arrested. He even goes home to his own parents, and his mom sees him, starts screaming, freaking out. "Oh, what are you doing in my house? Oh no!" So he has to leave, and he's now kicked out of his own house. He even starts tweaking at school. He goes out with a date with Sydney and La Postria, trying to, you know, as he said, spread the Nutella between those cheeks, and they don't even want him anymore because he's darker.
Nope, I can't do this. He's just too black. I done lost my appetite.
I just can't even fathom how this would go, and even the ending is some of the most absurd nonsense you could ever see. Grover and Jamal, they realize that this is becoming a major problem for Milk, and they still care about him. They want to help him out, so they go to the De-Darkening Company. Yes, the De-Darkening Company, to get him a little bit of help, a little bit of, you know, a little bit of that black off. God, it's so weird. It's so odd. So Joe Jackson, he's the head of this company, and they find Milk and throw him into a truck with a lot of other people who also look like they're struggling. And I'm not going to show you this part because I don't know how okay this will look. I'll show you like one clip at the end, but Milk wakes up naked, hung upside down, and Joe Jackson walks in and is like, "Hello, boy. Listen, it's my job to change you back to what you're supposed to be, Milton. Not chocolate Milton, Milton." So we then get a recreation of the iconic scene from Roots. You know, with Kunta Kinte, where he gets beat into submission and calls himself Toby. Well, in this case, Joe Jackson is whipping Milk, and every single whip he loses like a little bit of his darker tone until he's eventually crying and says, I'm Milton. And he's back to being white.
Is for making me correct myself. What's your name, boy?
Milton?
And just, I gotta say, wow, what an experience that episode was. That is not even remotely how I thought that would go. In terms of comedy, some of it is very funny. Again, it's kind of like a 70-30 split. I think that 30% of it is just kind of whatever, but it's kind of in that way, that vein where it's so unbelievably stupid that it's kind of funny, like saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna make that the giggle wiggle girl with some trap music. Like, that's not that funny. That's just fucking stupid, but then it's so stupid that it's actually kind of funny. Same with, I'm gonna spread my Nutella between those cheeks. Like, that's also just so stupid and awful to say, but at the same time, it's so bad that it's a little bit funny. So this entire thing kind of just rounded off to having a lot of faults, but at the same time, those faults are so unbelievably stupid. The concept is so stupid. The execution is so stupid that it's kind of overall funny. And I kind of like this. So if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give this a solid 8 out of 10. 7 out of 10. It didn't do anything like overly amazing to make me like slap my knees, just curl my toes, get jiggy and start dancing with it. But overall, it is a very solid piece of television and was overall very entertaining. If this is the best they have to offer, then I'm kind of scared for the worst they have to offer in the random episodes, because I could see this getting a lot worse really fast, but we'll see where this ends up going. Now taking a look at one of the lowest rated episodes in the series, we have the episode Inspired by ISIS. And honestly, going from the best rated episode in the series to this episode, I was a little bit worried, because usually when a show like this is made, the best they have to offer is usually the best you're gonna get, and everything else is usually just a little bit slop, you know? There's not usually a lot of good jokes. They usually save it all for one episode, and once they've wasted all of their expenses on that, it usually gets really bad. But I gotta say, even though this one was only rated a 4 out of 10 compared to the best episode, which was an 8.8, this was still pretty entertaining throughout the entire thing. The episode opens with them just discussing a bunch of movies till Milk walks over and he's like, "Hey yo, check out my YouTube." And apparently he has this YouTube called Gotcha or some dumb shit like that. And apparently he's been pranking his father quite a lot. The first one was just honestly heinous. He's using a blow dryer and he put blow inside of the blow dryer, so his dad starts ODing while Milk is just like, "Gotcha, dude." Like, what the fuck? He throws honey all over him and a beehive on him. He's like, "Gotcha, dude." And then, he crashes his car, and then his dad is like, "You are out of here." So he's going to be sent to the Middle East. Milton is out, and he goes to a place called Ubamastan, which is not a real place, but that title has very odd implications for the Middle East, calling it Ubamastan. Yeah, I wonder why they would call it such a thing. Oh dear. So then we get to, Jamal and Grover just sitting in the cafeteria, just shooting the shit, talking about nonsense, and I don't know, some of the conversations in this episode feel a little bit pointless, where Grover and Jamal are talking about the Second Amendment and talking about how it's funny how Lincoln's party is now, I don't care, I'm not going to get into their political nonsense talk, I don't care, it was just kind of a waste of the episode to have that there. But the main takeaway from that scene is that they need to look for somebody to replace Milk, because they need a white guy who is rich in their group. They need it so unbelievably badly if they're going to function in this way, which leads to some, you know, funny scenes. Milk, he eventually goes to Ubamastan and he meets up with this lady who takes care of him and is all like, "You want to get turned up?" So they're gonna go and party and whatnot. At the same time, Grover and Jamal are hosting auditions for their white counterpart, and that's when a guy named Brad Dickenmouth shows up. Yes, Brad Dickenmouth. They need somebody with a good credit score. They need somebody who has all of that. And I'm pretty sure he was voiced by Tom Kenny. I don't know, there was just something innate about the way that he was talking that made me want to go, "Ah!" You know? I'm pretty sure it's voiced by Tom Kenny here. And he's just like, "Oh, come on, guys. I could be good for you. I could be good for you. I got a walk-in pantry with Velveeta mac and cheese." And if that isn't the richest white thing you could possibly have, I don't know what is. So he obviously gets let into the group, which I was all for, because it leads to some very silly scenes. And they're sitting outside, just talking about nonsense, just having a little bit of fun. And once again, Jamal says something that is just so passionate, so beautiful, that I had to honestly shed a tear. He says, "Man, all these bitches be looking whack, man. They staler than a dollar store bread. I'd still eat it, though."
Hey, Pippin's out here looking staler than dollar store bread. I'll still eat, though.
Okay. Wow. Staler than a dollar store bread, but you would still eat it. My man Jamal he knows his way around town, to say the least. And that is when a Muslim girl shows up. She's the one who switched place with Milk for an exchange student nonsense, and she is wearing, the garb, like where you can only see her eyes. I can't remember what that's called. I apologize. But that's what she's wearing. That's all she's wearing, and she has a fat badonkadonk. It's just jiggling everywhere, hanging out, and the entire school takes notice, and everybody just starts talking about it in very odd ways. And honestly, I could do without all the puns. I thought they were a little bit of shit. I can't lie. Where one of them walks up and is like, "Yo, girl, damn, your name is Isis. I bet you were beheading dudes back home." Grover walks up and he's like, "Damn, girl, I'd land a plane in your Gaza Strip."
Let me holler at you for a second, Grover. I know you're gonna try to hit that, right?
I'll probably invade her Gaza Strip if she play her cards right.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. I did not really like all the puns very much. That was not very good, and follow that up with them saying things like, "Man, I'm gonna plant my bomb in her." Woo! Woo! Man, those are some shit puns, man. Those are pretty awful. But either way, that's just fucking wild. And so Grover, he makes a deal with one of the guys to get a picture of her naked, or else he's going to be off of the basketball team. That's the thing. So, oh man, I just made a deal with this guy. What do me and Jamal need to do? Let's start singing our fucking chant. Here I come, kitty, kitty, come, here, kitty, come. Here I come, kitty, kitty, come, kitty, come. Why did they start doing that? Is that from something? Did the writers just naturally think to have their two main characters, like, with the idea of sleeping with a woman to say, "Here I come, kitty, kitty, come, kitty, come"? What the fuck is that? That was stupid. Why did they say that? But it got me to laugh because then all of a sudden Brad Dickenmouth returns and he's like, "Hey guys, watch me whip. Watch me nay-nay."
Here I come, here I kitty come, come.
Watch me whip. Watch me nay-nay, fellas.
Oh, it's so stupid. It's so dumb, but that was so fucking funny. Why would he do that? Like, that was just the stupidest interaction or stupidest, 30 seconds I've ever seen. Kitty come, kitty, kitty come. Now watch me whip. Now watch me nay-nay. God, it's so unbelievably fucking stupid. That was awful. So, Milk is now turning up. He's learning a little bit about the Middle East. He's having fun there. And then all of a sudden he's posting on Instagram, and the government there, they see what's happening, and they see his spiky hair, his American body, and they're like, "This man is American? Spiky hair? That must mean homosexual. We must kill him." So now Milk is going to be dealing with all of that nonsense. At the same time, Isis back in America, God, I hate that that's her name. She's plotting, doing all this stuff. She's going to an electronics store. She's going to Home Depot. Yes, not Home Depot, Home Depot. Going to City Hall. So they're assuming that she might be plotting a little bit of something, might be plotting to do something. At the same time, everybody at school has started dressing up like Isis, wearing that traditional garb, just covering their entire bodies, because, she's thicker than all of them, so they want to look like her. So, Sydney, she goes downstairs, and her father's reaction is just priceless. He's just like, "Oh Lord, what have you done to my girl? See what you've done? You're making me speak in tongues, so you know I'm angry."
You now.
You finished?
Oh, shut a walla walla huckasheck. Girl, you know I'm upset when I start speaking in tongues.
Yeah, he's just very upset about the developments of his daughter, dressing like this, wearing more clothing. I wonder what the reaction would be if she was wearing significantly less clothing, if she was just wearing, tape or whatnot. But, either way, he's very upset about this, so that starts that plot line going on. At the same time, Grover, Jamal, and Brad Dickenmouth are trying to get a picture of Isis undressed, so they snap a pic and Isis notices, and then all of a sudden it cuts to the other side of the street and a grandma is calling, and this entire scenario is really weird. She's like, "Hello. Oh, God, I see 3 men trying to break into a young girl's room. Oh, God. Oh, you should go and arrest them, but, oh, God, she's so lucky. I wish that were me." What? Why does the show have to make me question so many things? Why does she want this? God, I really hope there's no 90-year-old women who are watching a young woman's house get broken up to and just sitting there like, oh God, I wish that were me. Oh, back in my day, that would have been me. No, why? God, it's just so odd. It's so odd. So, we cut back to Milk, and he's running away from the government with the girl that he met, and he manages to do an awesome shootout. The animation looks atrocious, doesn't even look remotely good, so not the best part of the episode, but either way, it's still pretty cool. Eventually, he gets away with the girl, and the girl gets shot in the head right before they kiss, and Milk gets to the United States Embassy, so he gets to come back. All good for him, I guess. That's pretty much the end of that plot line. It was interesting nonetheless. Not my favorite things going on there, but oh well. So, Grover and Jamal, they eventually talk to Isis, and Isis says that she wants to go and shoot some fireworks at City Hall, you know, to thank America. So they all go over there, and that's when the cops show up and start tasing people. They tase Jamal, and he's like, oh God, oh, I'm gonna piss myself. And he pisses all over, pisses everywhere like the little piss guy that he is. So that happens, and then Isis is able to light her firework, and it doesn't destroy City Hall like they were thinking. It just says, thank you, America. And she got shot, but she was wearing a bulletproof vest because she expected this from America, and that's pretty much the entire end of the episode. It was just a bunch of nonsense, really. This episode was okay. Definitely not my favorite thing in the world, but it had some good jokes here and there. I would give this episode, if I was to rate it 1 to 10, probably just a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's as good as the first one that I watched. Some of the jokes hit, but other things were just a hit or miss. I didn't really like all the puns. I thought they were just, you know, very blatant in what they were trying to do. There wasn't really a setup, like especially saying things like, I'm gonna put my bomb in her. Did not like that very much. But overall, it was fine. It was decent. 6 out of 10 isn't bad by any means. Honestly, is this going to go down as one of my favorite shows of all time? No, not by any means. But did it deserve to be canceled so soon? Honestly, no. For the 2 episodes that I watched, that being the worst and the best, I was entertained throughout the 22 minutes the entire time. Would I go back and rewatch the ISIS episode? No, not by any means. But for a first-time viewing, it was pretty decent, pretty great. Like a 6 out of 10 is pretty solid for a show like this that has awful animation. It is one of those shows where it's just randomly tossing a joke out here, a joke out there, hoping that it's going to make you laugh, but for the majority of the time, those jokes were pretty clever, jokes that I hadn't heard before, jokes that were pretty good. Obviously, the pun jokes about, you know, Middle East, bombings and stuff, that was kind of very expected and very played out, and they did it a lot, which I know why they did it a lot, because it's a show that's very self-aware of itself. It's so self-aware that it is kind of stupid, so I understand why they were doing it so much, but just hearing it like 8 times, it got a little bit repetitive, a little bit silly, and I ultimately wasn't very for that, but the majority of the time, I was laughing at the jokes, I was laughing at the silly concepts, and I think this show is exactly what it needed to be, and that is fun. If you go into the show thinking that it's going to be some grand masterpiece, that it's going to be like South Park and able to, you know, take a look at certain social commentary super well and super cleverly, that's not what it's going to be. It's going to be stupid, but it's so entertaining and so bad in a way that I think the show could have gone on for at least 1 more season, and it's a show that I wouldn't mind watching some other episodes for. So overall, did it deserve to be canceled? No. Do I think it should have went on for 5 or 10 seasons? Also no, but I could have definitely seen it going on for a little bit longer than it did. So, if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, lots of content on the way, lots of good stuff, you know, every single day. That's what I do. Take care. Bye.